Okay, let's go. I'm showing up on the last day of the month with my weighted vest because it makes me look tougher somehow. But to show that, hey, in order to be successful in this business, you got to work, right? You got to show up. So kudos to all of you guys for being here on Power 30. I'm excited because we have a couple of guests that I know are going to bring so much value to you this morning. But real quick, I just want to hop on, make sure that you guys are aware of a special opportunity call that we have tonight. It's going to be 8 o'clock Central Time. And it's going to be Megan and Alita are doing a vision casting call. So tonight for our team. So if you have anybody that you want to do this business with, send them an invite, a personal invite this morning, right when we get off this call. Anybody on your team, if they're taking these products, send them an invite, because if they're taking the products, they obviously like them, right? Or they're intrigued enough to order. So you want to make sure that they know about this opportunity. And don't prejudge anybody. Like, just send the message and see what they say, because you never know where people are. And they may need what we have. So I shared, I believe it was in the Energy Bus chat last night, I shared the invite that I'm sending. Of course, make it your own. And then I sent the graphic. So don't let tonight's meeting go by without inviting people. Just, it's one of those opportunities where you just, and my gut tells me this is going to be just pure fire. So you want as many people on there as possible. Okay, so we are blessed to have these two guys on our team. John and Ian are phenomenal. If you guys know them, you know you love them. And I hate to say these nice things, especially about John, but the truth is they are amazing guys. And they are doing a team training on overcoming objections. So I just asked if they would come on here and bless us, because we know if we're working this business, we get a lot of objections. So I'm not going to waste any more time. So, Ian and John, take it away, guys.
Yes. We are excited to bring this to you because we are excited to bring it to our team. So thank you, Lisa, so much for this opportunity. And you're right, we all handle these objections, right? And let's see, raise your hand if you've ever dealt with an objection from this business. Yeah. Put a 1 in the chat if you like handling objections. Yeah, exactly. It kind of sucks, right? It's kind of one of the part of the businesses that I think most of us, myself included, are just like, I would rather not. I would rather not. And so John and I were talking about ways to just help our team overcome this, because we realized that this was a huge kind of struggle with just network marketing as a whole, right? So we wanted to put this together. We actually had just finished up recording our video for our first day when Lisa asked us to do this today. And we got 2 more days that we're going to do the training. So if you get any value out of this and you want to join the next 2 days of training where we dive even deeper into it, let us know. We'll send you the replay or add you to it, whatever works better. But the deal is just to equip the team members to just build the skills to confidently navigate objections, understand the root issues and the psychology behind these objections, and to build trust that leads to conversions. Now, psychology goes both ways. So we're actually going to dive a little bit into our own psychology as to why we don't like objections, and then some of the top objections we face and how to kind of work through that, right? So we'll dive in. First thing I want you all to understand that it took me forever to realize is objections are not rejections. And those are 2 totally different things. So I'm going to say it again. Objections are not rejections. And I think for whatever reason, in maybe the way we're brought up, or maybe just society or whatever, we're kind of pre-programmed to see objection as a rejection. And I think a lot of it comes from maybe the uncomfortableness of starting this business for a lot of us, right? And so we're already kind of predispositioned or predisposed to mentally be like, oh, I don't want to be annoying to people. What if people don't like me? What if people think I'm silly for trying this? And so whenever someone brings up an objection, our mind automatically falls back on those things that we've already told ourselves about this person's response before they've even responded. So we need to start handling objections first by fixing our own mindset from thinking, A, that A, it's a rejection of us, our character, our business, or anything to do personally. And B, we've got to shift our mindset from having to convince them to serving them, right? Because this is all service based. I think when we freak out about the objection and we start working through our own negative mindset about the objections and what we think it has to do about us, we start overcompensating by thinking, okay, well, now I got to try to convince this person that their objection doesn't make sense, or I have to try to convince this person why my product, what I have, my pitch, right, is better than the objection that they just brought up. And really, that's just digging our hole deeper and deeper. If we're trying to build trust, if we're trying to connect on an empathy, with empathy, if we're trying to actually serve these people, then we need to make sure we come at it from a more servant's heart, a more servant mentality, and stop thinking we have to convince these people that we got what they need, right? Because that's not going to get anywhere. So we're going to just go over real quick the top 6 objections in this industry, and then speak about it a little bit. John and I are going to tag team it, and then we'll get through this. So believe it or not, it's actually a good thing when people object. It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of a weird thing to say, but if we break it down, it actually starts to make sense. Objection is not rejection. So objection means that they are actually interested and curious, but there's an internal conflict going on somewhere that is keeping them from making that decision right away, right? Now, we have to take some accountability for this. Sometimes it's because we didn't paint the vision big enough for them. We didn't ask enough questions. Remember, the person that asks the questions controls the conversations, and we'll get into that, into why asking questions is so important, why asking the right questions leads to just, deeper connection and everything. But if they do not offer an objection and they just flat out tell you no, that's what it is, right? There's no emotional investment. There's no emotional attachment whatsoever. They're just, no, thanks. I'm good. Have a good day. All right, cool. No worries, man. We'll move on. But if they actually offer up an objection, we need to start seeing that as a positive. All right. So another mental shift we need to have. Objections are good, not bad, because it shows that the people are interested and curious. They just have some internal mental blocks that they haven't worked through yet. And as network marketers, especially when it comes to objections, it's our job to ask questions and dig deeper and find out what that internal conflict is, and then help them work through it themselves. All right. So this is going to be a little participatory today. Unmute, chat, whatever you need to do. Name off some objections that you guys have heard or that you think are like the top 5 or 6 objections in this industry. Let's see what you guys got. Expensive. That's a big one. That's a lot, especially in today's society, right? Too expensive is huge.
Got
What about
4
some
of
other
those.
ones? Yeah.
Couldn't do it like you.
That's a good one, Michael.
There you go, Mike.
What else?
Ton of time. Nice.
Good scam. Yeah. Time is
Scam. All right.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it. So
I don't know anyone. Yep.
Perfect.
That was mine. I know cows, not people.
And now look at him. He signed up all the cows in Vermont and he's doing great.
Yes. Now we're gonna go to the chickens. Chickens are next.
What if nobody wants to buy from me? Yeah, 100%, Nicole. So I don't want to sell it. Awesome. These are all great. And these are all the most common ones. So it's great because now you're already familiar with the most common objections. Now we just got to learn how to work through them, because busy is a big one too, right? So let's start at the top. Let's start at what the number 1 objection is, especially in today's society. I don't have the money. This one turns us off mentally, because whether you have struggled or are still struggling financially or making ends meet, whatever it is, we sympathize with those people because we're like, hey, I know that I've been there, or I'm currently going through it. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to put more burden on them, right? So instantly our mind just shuts off. It's like, yeah, I get it. Totally understand. Catch you later, right? And we're on to the next one. Most of the time, though, money isn't the object. Even if they are struggling, even if they are living on a fixed income, even if they are, scraping by, like I was when I started, if I'll be completely honest, money is not normally the issue when they bring it up. Now, obviously, can't say 100% of the time this is fact, but that's why asking questions and digging deeper into this is important, right? A lot of the times when people say I don't have the money for that, it is masking their fear of failure or lack of value that we have given them. When people say I don't have the money, a lot of the times it is masking their fear of failure, their fear of taking a risk, and their lack of perceived value that we have given them. So that's where we have to get into learning how to better present the value, right, during the conversation before we get to the objection part, where we learn how to ask more questions during our interview process or whatever you guys are calling it, game planning process. So that way, when we get to the price point, which a lot of us don't even really like talking about in the first place, their value that we've given them and the goals that we have helped them set and the visions we've helped them cast and create and see in their mind, everything that is possible with this opportunity, how far they could go and how much you love them enough to help them get there. By the time we even get to the point where they can offer that this money objection that they don't have enough money, you've already tackled their risk of failure because you've already painted the picture that they're not doing this alone. You've given them all the value and they feel comfortable making this commitment, right? That's something we're going to be diving deeper into over the next couple of days. John and I did this in 40 minutes when we recorded it for our team. So we're going to try to keep it under that for you guys so we don't take enough time. Next one, I don't have time, right? A lot of that is a lot of y'all wrote, I don't have time. Nobody has time, right? That's kind of another one we sympathize with, right? We're working a business, we have families we take care of. Maybe you're working multiple businesses. You're like, yeah, everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day, and there's just still not enough time. I totally get it. I'm not trying to burden you. I don't want to stress you out more. Have a good day, and we're on to the next one, right? But a lot of times, I don't have time is a cop-out because they either have poor time management of the time they are currently the 24 hours they do have. They have low self-belief that they can actually do what you're presenting the opportunity can do for them, or they just downright have a fear of change. I don't have time it should be a cue that this person is very uncomfortable with change, but that's good because we all know that very uncomfortable with change. Change happens in the uncomfortable. There we go. Psyched myself out there for a second. They're uncomfortable with change, but we all know that change happens in the uncomfortable. So that should cue you in to start asking more questions. John and I just did this with a buddy of ours who had the exact same objection. We're actually working through it with another guy and currently, and we had great success. We noticed a team member started, not showing up. Which was very abnormal, not really working the business or whatever. So we reached out to him. He said, guys, it's the summer, man. I got things going. It's crazy. Just haven't had time to really pour into this. And we said, okay, write us down a schedule of everything you do from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. Send it to us. He did that. And within John, 5 minutes, we were able to pinpoint times where he could work on his business. And he hadn't even seen it, because he was just so busy and caught up in life, right? Everything just happens. Time management and fear of change. It's something you got to learn how to ask questions about to help them with. Let's see. One more and then I'll turn it over to John. How many of y'all have heard that I need to speak with my spouse? One. This one can be a little touchy, but we're going to do it anyway. I need to speak with my spouse, right? It's kind of a weird one because I don't know about you, but the first few times I got that objection, I didn't know what to do after that. I was just like, yeah, I get that. Like communication between spouses, between couples is so important. Again, our mind is just like, yeah, totally get that. You need to talk it over. You want to make sure they're on the same page. Totally understandable. Go do that. And what happens? A month later, you're having the same conversation. Hey man, what happened? Yeah, I just haven't had time to talk it over with my spouse yet. And you're just like, it's been like 7 100 days, bro. Like what time haven't you had, right? So now I'm gonna be perfectly honest, especially for guys, when they say I need to talk with my spouse, that is a cover up for a fear of decision making and a lack of ownership. And a lot of times they're seeking comfort in the fact that they can pass this decision off to someone else, i.e., their spouse in this objection, right? And they don't have to make the decision to commit. This one can be terrifying to deal with, but it's actually very simple. Again, asking the right questions leads to deeper understanding, leads them to open up more, leads to get past the surface objection and find the root cause, right? We're all about the root here.
Yes, they do.
Doctor, I'm sorry. I mean, we've all done it, right? Like, think it could be anything where it's just like someone, I used this example earlier, and I'll pick on John, where it's like someone asks, you know, who spilled the coffee? And you're just like, I don't know, John did it. You know, go ask him, go talk about it. And you just kind of brush it off. And then sometimes it's a reflex, and you think about it like a split second later. You're like, why did I do that? Like, that doesn't even make sense. It's not even a big deal. Or maybe we're just scared of the consequences. But a lot of times in this industry, when it's, I need to talk to my spouse, it's because they're trying to pass off ownership of this decision and just avoid it altogether. But there's a couple good ways of confronting this objection. We'll get into it in the next 2 days, but just real quick, you can either bring them in and ask, all right, well, what do you think? What do you need to ask your spouse about? What do you think he or she would say? Or, you know, what kind of questions are you going to ask them? You know, what do you think their answers are going to be? Or you could even go a little bit, you know, push a little bit harder and be like, okay, do you think, totally understand, right? You want to validate their objections every single time. Yeah, totally understand that. I think communication between spouses is important. Do you think, in my case, she would have an objection to you bettering your life to better show up for your family and be more energetic at home, to stop sleeping on the couch, hit the pain points that you should have already hit during this game planning interview? Do you think she would say no to that? And if usually at the very least, that's going to get them to kind of stumble a little bit and be like, well, no, but, you know, and then we're doing a training where we can kind of teach you how to go on from there and just be, again, show empathy, understand that if they still stick to their guns on this objection, as always, we always want the spouses to be involved, right? Always be like, okay, get them on. Let's go. We're going to do a call with all y'all, right? Get her on, get him on. Let's talk about it. Let's do it together. Let me hear from them specifically what you're saying their objection is going to be. So that way I can either A, call you out on your BS, or B, be like, look, I can answer the questions directly. All right, and we'll get into all that. I was trying not to get ahead of myself. And I've already taken up way more time than I expected. So John is going to finish this up with the last three. And yeah, hit it up.
Yeah, you gave me like 5 minutes. Appreciate that. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good. It's all good. Real quick, this is a participatory one, real quick. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel like you handle objections when you're talking to people? 1 being like, I just freeze and I move on to the next person. 10 is like, I can walk them through the process. I can bring out those limiting beliefs and I can sign them up. Where do you fall somewhere in that line, 1 to 10? This is like a 5. Nice. I love how Ian in the beginning really paints a picture of objections are not rejections. And honestly, to me, I've had to learn that objections are actually really just the start of the conversation. It really is. Up until that point, there's nothing going on. But once they give some sort of emotional investment, once they sort of emotionally attach themselves to this, that's when the conversation actually starts. So it usually starts at the first objection, which for some people are like, I'm in the wrong business. I'm getting out of here. Because I don't like the feeling of that. That sounds nerve-wracking, overwhelming, all these things. I'm gonna have to handle objection after objection. But the truth is that if you're here, you're going to handle it over and over and over. So I appreciate the honesty you guys gave on that. So a couple more real quick here, because again, it's the last day of the month and we got work to do, but I think it's important to go over these objections because chances are if you're doing the things today and you're reaching out and you're inviting, you're going to hit some of these objections. So it's good just to prime yourself now for all of that. Now, this one, oh my gosh, this one is one that I hear a lot, especially in the school system. I hear it from my kids all the time. I hear it from people because, of course, I'm pretty out with with what I do. That I'm in network marketing. Is this a pyramid scheme? Like, how many of us have heard that, right? Is this a pyramid scheme, right? Because that comes up a lot, and unfortunately, some network marketing companies have had this poor perception painted for them because there have been cases with network marketing or MLMs that have turned out to be pyramid schemes, right? And that's just the what's happened. So it's a case of misinformation. It's a case of them hearing things and then painting all marketing companies, all MLMs as a pyramid scheme, right? They have this fear of being scammed. I know one of you guys put that in the chat earlier, like, oh, this must be a scam. It must be too good to be true, all these things. Well, how we handle that is by going, first of all, look at our business. We've been around almost 20 years. Okay. If we were a pyramid scheme by now, we would have been caught, we would have been shut down, and well, we wouldn't be here. But the fact of the matter is that, first of all, we've been here almost 20 years. That gives us validity and integrity. Oh, and by the way, we now partner with the greatest network marketing mind in the world. I don't think he would risk his reputation and his integrity and his legacy to work with a company that could potentially be a pyramid scheme, right? So we need to help them show the value of what it is that we have. It's like, I'm sorry, there are network marketing companies and MLMs all over the place now. They're a dime a dozen. They have really become the norm. So we need to help them show them that and be like, this is a place of integrity. This is a place who, it's like network marketing is real. Network marketing is legit. Pyramid schemes are illegal. And oh, by the way, if you trust me as a human being, do you really think I would get involved in something that's illegal? No. And do you think I'd be trying to scam you into something because we're good friends? No. It's like, come on now. Next one. This is the one that I probably used with Ian. Actually, I did use this. I used this with Ian and Allie when I signed up because they're like, dude, come try these out for your health. You can help make money for your people. I think I even told Alita this because she's like, dude, you could be the first diamond in Vermont. I'm like, okay. First of all, I have no idea what that means. And I'm like, what do you got to do? I was like, well, you just go out and you share these things. I'm like, hold on. You want me to be a salesperson? You want me to sell something? You want me to be salesy? And I think we hear that a lot, right? Like, I'm not a salesperson. I know that was my thing to Ian and Allie. I was like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. I don't go out. I'm not my dad who works at a car dealership and trying to get commission by selling cars. It's just not what I do. And they're like, good. And that honestly took me back some. And that takes a lot of people back if you just respond with good. I know a lot of times when people tell me they're not a salesperson, I'm like, good, I'm glad. They're like, well, then what do you mean? I'm like, well, I don't want you to be a salesperson. I want you to be somebody who shares. I mean, yes, we're involved in sales. I'm not going to lie to that. We're in network marketing. Sure, this is a transactional like industry that we're in, but we're here because we care. We're here because we have something to share and to serve you with. You're not just another number. You're not just an extra 6 points on our back office that we can get more commission off of. It's like, we're here because we care about you. First of all, that's why we're reaching out about you. And we have something that's so great that we think can really help you in your life and your family and help leave a legacy that you want to leave. Like, so when people tell me I'm not a salesperson, it's like, good. But do you recommend restaurants to people? Do you recommend shoe brands? Do you recommend children's curriculums if you're a homeschool parent? You probably do. Guess what? That's network marketing. That is, you're sharing. You could do the same things with these products once you find out how good and amazing they are. When you find out how good something is, don't you want to share it with the world? Of course. That's how it works, right? So get on these products. Like, come on now. Let's go. And the last one, real quick, as we get ready to wrap up, this is the one that probably amps me up the most. And I think as we go through these, there's probably one that resonates with you a little bit more and kind of just irritates you when you hear it because you're like, oh, come on now. It's probably this last one because I'm a guy of action. So when I hear the phrase, I need to think about it, honestly, it just irritates the crud out of me because you are just on that hamster wheel, right? You are stuck in quicksand. You are running and you're not going anywhere. You're basically saying like, I need to think about it. So what does that mean? That means you're a person of inaction. Like, that's what you're telling me. You have no urgency. You have no clarity. Like that's the things that are covering this up. It's like, I need to think about it. Like, what do you need to think about? Like, and that's gonna be your easiest question you give right back to them is when they say, I need time to think. Okay, what do you need to think about? We've had this discussion every month for 6 months. What is there left to think about? I mean, And that just draws out more questions, right? So that one just, I know it irritates me because I'm always like, well, what do you got to think about, bro? What do you got to do? So those are the 6. And I want to share a quick story with you guys because we literally walked through one of these objections yesterday with one of our team members, and he handled it incredibly well because he started to have this mindset shift of that the objection is not the root problem. The objection that we hear is only typically surface level, as Ian was talking about earlier. The root is drawing out that limiting belief, that mental block, that's covering up fear or belief or lack of vision or whatever it is. So I had a level 1 yesterday reach out to me, and he was like, it's a guy we've been talking to. A lot of us actually have been talking to. I think 4 or 5 of us have for months. And he's interested because he keeps telling us, like, I want to try it. I want to do this. I want to do that. And he dropped I need to talk to my spouse about it. And honestly, the first 2 times we heard it, we just let it go. We're like, again, as men, we're like, oh, cool. Yeah, you got to talk to your bride. We want you guys to be on the same page. We don't want you getting in trouble, being put in the doghouse. Go talk to your bride. Well, it's a cover up. Sorry, it's a cop out. So we finally challenged him yesterday. We told our L1 Sam, we're like, Sam, ask him what he thinks his wife would say. Okay. So he did. And he wrote back, well, she would say, how can I afford it? And who could I who could I sign up under me to make my products paid for? Okay. So now the objection is not what my spouse would think. You see that? We tore back a layer, and it's now a money piece, right? A money and a value, and a fear of, I'm not sure I can do this because I don't know people. Who's going to buy from me? And so he asked another question, and I'm going to bring it up because, well, I want to make sure I have this correct. Let me see. Where is he? Stand by momentarily.
While he does
Okay.
that, guys, I'll just bring it up real quick. Objections can be layered, like John's showing you guys, right? It's not always just one objection. It could be multiple objections, but that's where you got to let your empathy and belief be bigger than their doubt that is bringing the objection up. All right, sorry, go for it.
100%. No, that's perfect, right? And I want you guys to see this layered approach. So yes, he asked, and she said, like, who would I get to sign up under me to get it paid for? And she probably asked me, how could I afford it? And so he actually told me, like, hey, like, let's start there. Do you know of anyone that would sign up under you if it meant better health? Ooh, hitting a pain point, better health. Great question. That was not even one that we fed him. Like, he came up with that, and I was so proud of him because it was a great question. And the guy responded with, well, not offhand, not anyone that would stick with it at least. Oh, okay. Okay. So he responded. He's like, I totally get that. I'm sure there are some guys who would, though. And that was actually one of the thoughts that I had when I started too. So again, it's like he's being empathetic, and he's telling him, like, where I was versus where I am. Like, I understand that. And then this guy on his own responded with, well, maybe I could find some guys in my ministry. Wow. Okay. And so Sam responded with, yeah, I think there's definitely some in there, and John and I can help you do it. So we went from a surface level objection of, I got to talk to my spouse about it, to maybe there's a money problem. Maybe there's a lack of being able to do this and know people. And then on his own, he started thinking already of people that he could actually already connect with. I mean, that was in a matter of just a 5-minute conversation.
And you see how all that already kind of takes care of the money objection in the process?
So, exactly. So if nothing else today, I know it's like 11, so we're going to get off here. But if nothing else, as you guys go into these conversations and you start getting hit with objections, first of all, detach yourself from the objection or of it, because it's not them rejecting you. It's them covering up something that's deeper. And honestly, it's our job to help them pull that out. It's our job to be able to talk to them and have conversations and ask some questions that may not always be easy, to draw out the things that are mentally blocking them from making a decision that's actually going to be really helpful for them. And then, if you do get stuck, use each other, right? Ask, like, I had no problem shooting the message to Ian, like, okay, dude, like, here where we're at, here what I'm thinking, I'm having a mental struggle for the moment. How would we go? Because sometimes it takes a third set of eyes to get out of their own way. Like, sometimes I'm so stuck at looking something in my vision, in my way, that if I bring in somebody else, they can look at it with a different set of eyes. I mean, Ian and I were doing this with Lisa a little bit ago. We were talking to her. We're just trying to give her another set of eyes on her schedule because she really wants to time block this month. And I think that's great because she feels like that's a big hurdle for her is time blocking. And I think for a lot of us, that is. So sometimes it takes other people's perceptions and perspectives to help us see sometimes those little adjustments that we can make to hit the goals that we want to hit. So, Ian, anything else before we hop off?
No, that was it, man. You crushed it. Just remember,
Okay.
objection is surface. Got to get to the root by questions. The root is usually fear, lack of belief, value misalignment, something like that. And it's our job to help us unwind that. So that's all we got, ladies.
Yep. And last thing too is like, honestly, if you're reaching out to this person because you care, you're not going to let them just cop out. You're not just going to let them have that objection at the surface level. You're going to dig deeper because you truly care for them. You know, this can be really good for them. You know, this business can unlock the world for them. You're going to keep digging deeper. Think about it. I mean, if you're talking to your best friend, are you going to let them just cop out of something that's going to be really good for them? No, you're going to talk to them. That's what you're going to do. You're going to have that conversation.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for sharing this. So much good stuff there. And you know what? If you have team members that weren't on the call this morning, I'd send them this recording. Definitely so valuable. Definitely a big shift here. And listen, it's the last day of the month. If you're not anywhere near your goal, like keep working, right? You work till the fat lady sings. That's what I always say. Till that clock hits midnight, you keep working. If you're not anywhere near your goal, you want to work so that you are closer to your goal next month. Start preparing for next month and what that's going to look like. And invite for tonight's meeting. You're going to want to get people on that Zoom call because it will be fire. I promise you. I promise you. Thank you guys for hopping on. You guys go kill it today. Let's go.